Good morning. Muy buenos días a todos. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Dante Villarreal, and I have the privilege of serving as the Vice President of Business and Talent Development for your Grand Rapids Chamber. On January 20th, Meyer announced it will host the Lift Local Supplier event, providing local businesses across the retailer's six-state footprint the opportunity to showcase their offering to Meyer merchants virtually. This event follows a successful Supplier Diversity Summit held in November, during which Meyer merchants met with nearly 250 diverse suppliers to diversify their vendor base and better serve their customers. Both events are part of the retailer's ongoing efforts to enhance the diversity of business partners and amplify the growth of its communities. Today, I am joined by Meyer subject matter experts Nikki Carnahan, Senior Merchandising Manager, and Carla Hendon, Supplier Diversity Director. They will address eligibility and qualifications for the Lift Local Supplier event, as well as application and review process. Myers continued to focus on supplier diversity and the application process for vendors who are not yet retail ready or offer products outside of the targeted retail categories for this event. Our goal for today is ensuring you leave with a better understanding of how to engage with Meyer as a potential vendor in the near future, or as your business continues to grow throughout your life cycle. As a friendly reminder, we encourage you to submit questions using the chat feature located on the toolbar at the bottom of your screen. We will do our best to answer everything. And now, without further ado, I'll turn it over to my colleague Ken James, Director of Inclusion for Business for the Grand Rapids Chamber. Ken, please take it away.
Dante, thank you so much for that introduction. Carla, Nikki, we are delighted to have you to be a part of our webinar today so you can help provide information to our members about how to engage with Meyer. I know that you have put together a very detailed presentation. So to all the participants right now, we will listen to the presentation that Carla and Nikki will provide for us via PowerPoint. And at the conclusion of that presentation, we'll be delighted to answer any questions that you have. And I will be moderating that. So utilize the chat feature and we will go forward after the presentation. If we can pull up the presentation now. There it is. Okay, Carla and Nikki, the show is yours, and I'll be back to moderate at the conclusion of your presentation.
All right, very good. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for having us today. Nikki and I are honored to be here and excited to share with you what is going on at Meyer, and definitely are interested in any and all questions that you would have. If we don't have the answer, we certainly will do our best to get back to Ken with the answers. The focus for today is Lift Local and Supplier Diversity, and that's what we're going to talk about. On our agenda, we just have a couple of slides because we really do want to make sure that we address the questions that you have. On our agenda, we'll do some introductions. Nikki and I will both introduce ourselves, and I'll introduce Meyer to you. I do not want to make the assumption that you know Meyer, so I am going to introduce Meyer to you. We will talk about the Lift Local event, and then we'll talk about what we are doing around supplier diversity. So with that, I'll turn it over to Nikki to have her introduce herself.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Nikki Carnahan. I'm Senior Sourcing Manager with Meyer, supporting all of these wonderful events that we have going on right now.
Thank you, Nikki. And as I mentioned, I am Carla Hendon, Director of Supplier Diversity. And I have been with Meyer for 12 years. Most recently, I was a part of our indirect procurement team. And so my experience stands quite extensively in the procurement world. And prior to Meyer, I was in the automotive industry. So a lot of my supplier diversity experience comes from working in the automotive industry. So with that, let me introduce you to Meyer. a lot of people know that we are in Michigan, but what I wanted to share and remind those of you that are more familiar, we are in 6 states. And when we talk Lift Local, we're talking about local to Meijer, right? So we're talking about all of Meijer. And so we are in 6 states. And if you know we're in 6 states, Chantel, can we go to the next slide? I want to make sure that you also know that we have other operations outside of our store operations. So Meijer, if you're familiar with shopping in the stores, you certainly know that we have our own brand of Meijer products, our own brand of Cheerios or ketchup. So we have an own brand of Focus. We also have a distribution network that is within the 6 states that we operate. We have a logistics fleet, and I'll be talking about opportunities for carriers a little bit later. We have a central fill location. We have 2 of them. It's where we fill prescriptions for our pharmacies. And we have need for all types of products there, be it vials or bags or gloves or equipment for those facilities. As well as we have several manufacturing locations. We have 2 dairies. There's a nut roasting facility in Grand Rapids, in Granville particularly. We have a fresh assembly that is in Lansing where we make, where we cut fruit and make sandwiches and things like that for same day delivery to the stores. And then we have a central kitchen where we make cookies and salads and bread and sauces and quite a bit of other food items. And so we have all of those locations as well. And then finally, before I turn it over to Nikki to talk local, I want to just identify for when we talk about Lift Local and Supplier Diversity, what all Meijer buys so that you get a sense of whether or not it's applicable to you. Meijer, certainly we're all familiar with the retail side, and that's the merchandising and marketing that you see at the upper left-hand corner. But we also have packaging for our manufacturing and distribution facilities, but we also have packaging for our in-store products, be it packaging for the cookies that we sell in the bakery, or be it bags for our lunch meat when you buy lunch meat at the counter. We certainly require facility maintenance support, be it security as well as cleaning or building maintenance. We have a need for all types of supplies, be it receipt tape all the way through to pencils and pens and scissors. But, you know, for a lot of what we would use in the office, we no longer, at least at this time, are not in need of those things, but our stores are still in need of all of those stationary type items. I mentioned that we have logistics. So we have logistics services that are required as well as carrier services. And we are doing ocean freight as well as over the road transportation. Down at the bottom on the left-hand side, there's IT requirements that we have. We require HR services, not just temp labor, but also training and talent management services, resource services as well. And then some of the things that are under our other category include waste and recycling, utilities, legal services, hospitality services. And then we have finance, all of our financial services, be it travel or financial advisory and auditing requirements. And then finally, construction, where we utilize construction trades. We have real estate requirements. We have equipment that we purchase and fixtures that we put in our stores. And so there's just quite a bit of opportunity for what we require to run and operate the entire organization. And then in the far right, that's just a list of all of the categories that we carry in our store. that I'm referring to when I say merchandising. So with that, just to give you a sense of then what the opportunity is, now we can talk about Lift Local and what we're doing in that space. So I'll turn it over to Nikki to share with you some information on Lift Local.
Perfect. Thank you, Carla. So I know Dante kind of teed it up for us in the beginning. So Meijer is hosting a Lift Local supplier event on April 1st. This event is really the opportunity to give local businesses a chance to showcase their products virtually in meetings with our Meijer merchandising and sourcing team members. So with that being said, we're looking for products made in one of the 6 Midwestern states, which are there listed for you between Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, Ohio, Michigan, and Wisconsin. So the only really qualification is that a product either needs to be grown or manufactured within our footprint. So, and then the products that we're looking for are retail ready products, including food, baby, beauty, personal care, over the counter, and wellness. So pretty wide range there. Next slide, please. So from an overall application and review process, we have the link here. So going to RangeMe.com, they are helping to coordinate the event for us. From a timeline perspective, all applications are due 2/19, so deadline's coming up pretty quickly here. From there, it will give our Meijer team members time to go through, review all of the applications, and select who they'd like to meet with. And then from there, the RangeMe team will reach back out to suppliers, let you guys know if you've been selected or not. That will happen by 2/26. And then 3/9 is when the supplier deadline is to register and confirm meetings. So just a few steps there. And then obviously then the actual event happens on 4/1. Carla, back over to you. Oh, Carla, I think you're muted.
Thank you. Thank you. So what I was saying is that Nikki is very, 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 very nice. I want to stress to you that those dates that she shared are absolute solid dates. There is no exception to them. If you are not registered by the 19th, you are not participating. So you want to make sure that if you are interested, that you go out and do the things that you need to do in order to participate. That is an absolute. So, all right. So that was my kind of, like this for you. All right. So I'm going to talk about supplier diversity. And Meijer, we are just so excited about the opportunity to just further our work in this space. And so I'm going to start with our definition of supplier diversity. We have defined it as a business strategy that ensures a diverse supplier base in the procurement of goods and services. And this definition is very important to us. And there's a couple of important words in here, but the one for this discussion I want to focus on is ensures. Ensures is important for us because it is stressing the commitment and the intentionality around this work. Meijer's mission is to enrich lives in the communities we serve. And fulfilling this mission begins with focusing on serving people in the workplace, in our stores, and in our communities. And that means commitments to making sure diversity, equity, and inclusion are integrated into all aspects of our business. And that's not new for us. It has been who Meijer is since its inception. And we recognize there's an opportunity to do more and have added resources and support to be able to do more. And so focusing on supplier diversity is an important part of our mission. It is our hope that our diverse partners will not only drive success, for your business or their businesses, but amplify growth in our communities and economy while better servicing our customers. So it just means a lot to us to continue our efforts and really just amplify them in this space. So next slide, please. This is who we are tracking when we say diverse. It is a provider of goods and services that is owned and operated independently, 51%, and controlled by a U.S. citizen. And they're members of the following groups. And I'm sure that you all are familiar with these groups, but I'll walk through them. Minority owned really kind of sums up people of color, LGBT, disabled, veteran, and women. Those are the 5. We are not identifying small business or any other category as diverse as we, in our definition and in our tracking of supplier diversity. And when we talk about diverse, if you go back one slide, when we talk about diverse, we are talking about certified. And so as I talk about our strategies to grow our partnerships, it's important to know that when we are counting and identifying our progress in this space, we are talking about certification with these organizations. So let me talk about our strategies to grow our diverse partnerships. So just as we have the Lift Local, we are event planning is certainly a part of our strategy. And I say that because you guys know this just as well as I do. Part of the problem and the inability for us to do business together is the ability to connect with each other. You don't know who to talk to. You don't know who the buyers are. You don't know what the resources are, all of those things. And so these events are going to be put on for the purpose of being able to connect with you and to connect with others. So just as I said about the February deadline for the April event, it is important for you guys to also be aware and mindful of the dates for these upcoming events. The dates are not listed here because I don't want to confuse the conversation around Lift Local. As we begin to publish the dates for our upcoming events, I will make sure that I'm connected with Ken so that he's able to share all of this information with you so that you'll know your timing for when you need to submit information. So these 4 events that I want to highlight so that you know they're upcoming, so you can be on the lookout. March, there will be a carrier outreach. So for any of you that are carriers or know of diverse carriers, we will be doing an event actually in April, but we will kick it off with a March event. And if you don't participate in the March event, you will not be able to participate in the actual sit down with the buyers in April. So there's a March carrier event. There is a May Diversity Week. So this week is a really important week for you guys because where you are able to participate with Meijer, you will also be able to participate with other retailers. So Meijer is participating in an event that ECRM or RangeMe, the same company that's supporting us for Lift Local, they are doing an event in May, and they have invited all of the retailers to participate. And so we are partnering with Target and Amazon and Walmart and Kroger and Kohl's and Macy, all of the retailers. And for 1 week, we will all focus on identifying diverse providers that we can support. And when I say that, I don't mean that we're all sitting in the same room. I mean, you have the opportunity in that 1 week to have a meeting with all of the different companies, but you are meeting with them individually. It is just an attempt to focus the effort. So more will come regarding that. And again, I will make sure I'm connected with Ken, but you want to just have that on your radar. The information for that event should be coming out by the end of February, so very shortly. And then in the fall, we will do a event for construction trades, plumbers and electricians and general trade type providers. And then we will do an indirect spend event at some point this year. We are still trying to determine when that event will take place, but it will also be something that we share with Ken as well. The other things we're doing is we will be standing up a new website for communication to all of our external partners and prospective partners. And we will be publishing our sourcing calendars so that you are aware of our sourcing events. And for those of you that are certified and do work with third parties like WeBank for Women or for the Michigan Minority Supplier Development Council and so forth, we will be publishing our calendars to them as well so that they're able to push it out to you also. And then there's other resources. I hesitated to put anything here other than other because I don't want there to be a misunderstanding around our intentions. So what I mean by that is just as the challenge with the ability for us to do more with diverse suppliers has been the ability to connect with them. The other challenge has been around the resources available for diverse suppliers to be able to compete and stand up their businesses, right? And so we certainly recognize that and certainly are committed. You've seen Meijer in the community and you've seen us show up in other ways. We're able and willing to show up in this space as well. And it's difficult to define it because everyone's story and need is different. And so as we begin to partner with suppliers, our intentions are to grow with those suppliers responsibly so that there is sustainability. And so whether we start a company out with one store because of their production capability or because of our uncertainty as to whether or not that product will sell and where it will sell, that strategy for those categories are very specific. And the buyers who have the subject matter expertise will work with those suppliers individually on how all of that comes together. And as those strategies are set in place, then we have conversation around support that might be needed in order to be able to scale like you need to, or whatever it needs to look like. So that's what I mean by other resources. And I know that I was very vague and I was intending to be vague, and I hope you are reading through all the lines. Supporting certification for qualified suppliers. By this we mean, I mentioned that we are interested in tracking and reporting against certified suppliers, but we do recognize there are companies that are qualified but not certified. And so as we begin to do business with diverse suppliers that are not certified, then there's some assistance that we are intending to give to support them getting their certification. There's training and resources that we are building to be able to help you understand exactly how to do business. And again, to take you through that level of detail in this type of a setting is not appropriate because you all are different types of providers of services and goods. But we are intending to have specific information for if you are a retail ready supplier looking to be in our stores and you need understanding of how to get a UPC and what do I need a co-packer and what's the distribution channel and packaging and things like that. we are building out those documents for you so that we can support you in that effort, as well as what it takes to be a logistics or a carrier for us. And our construction teams are so different. We do everything, as you guys know, from building a brand new store, which takes a lot of resources, to just paving a sidewalk. And so there's a lot of different requirements in that space as well. And so just looking to build all of that out for those that are interested in understanding more. And then this distributor mentoring is something that we're in the process of doing as well. Distributors are used for retail ready products that are not typically not in all of our stores. So let's pretend you've got a cracker and we're going to try you out at the Meijer location down on 28th Street. If you're just in that one store, it's very difficult to get your product in the store through our large channels like we would bring in for Kellogg's and Procter & Gamble and all of the bigger names. And so distributors are used to help kind of manage that delivery and that support of that one-off kind of scenario. There's lots of one-offs, and that's why we need to have a third-party partner. And so we're working with some of our distributors to help mentor in a larger scale some of what we expect to be coming their way from a diverse supplier perspective, as well as helping our diverse suppliers understand the capabilities of our distributors, because some do frozen food, some do fresh, some do grocery type items with longer shelf lives, that type of thing. So, and then finally, we are launching this, I think it'll be up at the beginning of March, a vendor registration tool just to enhance supplier visibility and management, so that we're able to communicate to all of our prospective vendors the events that are coming up or information that's missing from their profile. They'll understand if the buyer has reviewed their profile and whether or not they're interested or not interested. It'll be a way for us to give feedback, because as you guys know, unfortunately, we can't put everything in the store, right? While we would like to, everything is not, it's not possible. And so it's good to get the feedback so you understand where things stand for you. So that tool will help us do that. And so these are some of the strategies that we have in place and that we're building. This is a journey for us, one that we are, as I mentioned, excited about. And there's lots of questions to be answered and lots of steps to be taken. And so I would say on this next slide, Chantel, if you'll go to the next one, how do you talk to us? This is, and I'm hesitating and looking at the slide, the formatting in my transition of the slide to Chantel is just a little off, but vendornet.meijer.com is where you would go to register to be a prospective vendor. There are two things on the Vendornet. If you are an indirect carrier or construction provider, you're going to follow the prospective vendor prompts. And if you are a retail ready provider, then there's a RangeMe link that you're going to click on. We are using RangeMe to register retail ready products and to gather all of the information that we need on that product to make a decision to take the next step. If you've done that and you're all set, then it's just a matter of you waiting to hear from us. And I know that sometimes, waiting is like, tragedy, but there are times when the buyer is not resetting their makeup. If resets don't occur until December, they're not going to necessarily be reviewing right now what they're going to start doing in December. And so there may be a need to wait. And so if there is a question about anything related to what you've submitted, what you thought was supposed to happen, then you want to connect with us via email, diversevend@meijer.com, and we can get back to you with an answer on whatever question that you have. And that's what I wanted to share with us, with you. And so you can go to the next slide. That's our last slide. We thank you for the interest and the ability to be here today, and welcome all the questions that you have for us. So Ken, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you so very much, Carla and Nikki, for that information. It was indeed a lot, and we've received quite a few questions, and I would do my best to get to each of those in the time that we have left. One of the things that I will share with you, a couple of questions came up, is this webinar is being recorded, and that will be available for you to refer back later for those of you that had that question. So Carla and Nikki, I won't waste any time. I'll get into the questions there, and I'm just going to kind of address them in the order that I saw them come in, so we might be going back and forth a little bit, just so you're aware of that. So the first one is, when you talk about retail ready, can you just put into more specifics what that means to be retail ready?
So on that one, I think it's really just a product that is able to go on the store shelf. So it could be, if it's that cracker that Carla was referring to previously, that you have packaging for it, you have product ready, you are able to produce and supply enough, at least for one store, to be able to put on the store shelf. So it's really retail ready, just means it's ready to go on the store shelf and be able to be sold to customers.
Store shelf ready to sell. And then specifically, is apparel included in retail ready?
So it is, but I would say from a Lift Local perspective, we are not including apparel at this time. So it's really focusing on foods, baby, consumables, different things like that. But our general merchandise categories are not included in this event.
Okay.
Does that also include like having the barcode and having that system in place, and labels? Okay.
Yes, you're correct.
If the business were to want to like learn, okay, here's a checklist or something, is there something on the website or somewhere, something you can send us that we can send out so they can see, okay, this is the checklist of what something might be?
There is nothing out on the website yet. That's a part of those resources that we are building now.
Okay, and if there is something, as soon as it comes up, you can send it to us. We can forward it on to the participants.
Yeah, you know what? When the site is up, I will make sure that Ken is aware of it. Absolutely.
All right.
And we're hoping to have that finished before the end of the month.
Okay.
And
to all the participants,
we'll continue to add to it. So it will not be 100% complete. We will add as we hear from people that says, hey, this would be good to have out there, et cetera. Okay.
Okay. Thank you for that clarification. And again, to reassure all of our participants today, any information that we get, the email that you use to register for this event, we will provide that update. You can expect that from the chamber. Another question that came in, and again, something to think about with the excitement and the opportunity that's there. If a business that's listening right now needs help with the application process, what is the best way for them to ask for help? Because and it was specifically said, they would hate to miss the opportunity because they forgot to submit one item or to submit one thing. Where would we want to send someone for that help, step-by-step help?
Is this the application for the Lift Local event or the certification?
You know what? Certification will next. This is for the Lift Local event, but there is questions about certification.
Okay.
So for the Lift
So
Local
those
event.
So for the Lift Local event, those can actually come directly to me. So I'm helping with all of that. And if I cannot help with the answer, then I will connect, anyone with the actual RangeMe help team so they can help as well. But definitely direct them directly to me and I will see what I can do to help out.
Okay, all right. And Carla, in just a moment, there were questions about the certification process. But before we get there, someone wanted a little bit of clarification. You talked about Meijers Footprint in the 6 states. What if the business, the potential supplier is based here, but they do have some of their products imported from outside of your footprint? With them being based here, does that still make them eligible to apply?
Depends on what it means when you say based. So if just their office is here, their headquarters, their distribution center, no, that's not applicable. They really need to be growing and or producing within our footprint. So we're not looking for an importer that just has an office here and they're getting the product from outside. But it could be something where if, maybe they're making mixed veg and they get, you know, one of the pieces from outside of our footprint, but then the rest are coming within or they're packaging it within, then that would be applicable.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that clarification. And then another question came in about packaging. So if a smaller supplier is selected, but they needed helping with packaging to meet the demand, is that something that Meijer helps with, the packaging, if they were selected?
So I was going to say, as of now, that's typically not something that we help with. Normally, we rely on each of an individual supplier to provide their own packaging and sell it to us as a completed product. Not to say that we couldn't help with that. I think that can be something. If someone's struggling with that could be part of those other resources that Carla was referring to. That maybe we could refer them to some of our top packaging suppliers, different things like that to kind of help out. But then they would kind of need to take it and run with it at that point.
Okay. And back to the certification question. So you did share the slide, you're looking for persons of color owned, LGBTQ plus owned, veteran owned, disability owned, et cetera. If someone is working towards certification, but they're not certified yet, will you still indeed work with them? And then also there were just some questions about, for those that haven't started the certification process, are they eligible and can you help them with the certification process?
Yeah, those are good questions. So absolutely, in both cases, we're interested in product that our customers are interested in. And so we will not work with someone because they're not certified. Our ability to count them as one of our suppliers that are diverse has everything to do with the certification, if that makes sense. So we will, where they have questions or need some support, we have the third-party resources that we can rely on to help them through the certification process and assist them, whether they're starting the process in the middle of it or lost their certification and they're looking to gain it back. So that doesn't stop us from wanting to do business with them.
Carla, and along those lines, we understand that there's more than one way to certify a minority-owned business veteran. There's different agencies that can do it, some national, some state, some federal, even the SBA 8A program, small disadvantaged business. Can you talk about or maybe guide us on what certifications do you accept?
Yes, so we are aligned on the 5 major ones, the WeBank and the MNSDC and the veterans and et cetera, and their affiliates. Okay. So a small disadvantage does not count. Small business does not count. Those are the 5 that we are focused on.
And what we can do, Ken, is we can send this out in the follow-up email to our participants, the exact list and what affiliates would qualify. That way there's a clear understanding. Which
okay,
ones.
Perfect. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and we will do that. Nikki, your your email has been requested. If you can drop that in the chat, there's a request for that. And while you're doing that, I will go on to the RangeMe. You're using RangeMe to help register folks for the Supplier Diversity. a couple of questions, and it's a two-part question. If you go through the RangeMe, you're not selected, what would be the next steps to stay involved with Meijer? And then also, is there a fee for RangeMe? And then if there is a fee to get registered for the businesses where that fee might pose a problem, is there any type of way to work around that?
So, excuse me. So in terms of your questions there, so for the first one, if a supplier is not selected for this event, the information is still out there. So Meijer, maybe it could be something that the team is not looking to reset their POG at this point. So they're not looking for crackers. They may want to hold off, and when that time comes, then they'll go back into RangeMe, they'll do their searching that way, and they may reach out at that point. So the information's not lost, it stays there forever. So I wouldn't be discouraged by that, because I will say, even at this point, we have, I want to say, around 370 applicants so far. And we know that, our team can't meet with 370 different suppliers in one day. So, so don't be discouraged, but the information will stay there. In terms of a fee, so to register for the event, there is no fee. If you are selected for a meeting for the April 1st event, there is a fee of $200 for that. And it all goes towards administration fees for the RangeMe and ECRM team to be able to, they provide support. So they provide support to the suppliers, meeting with them ahead of time to make sure that there's no questions or concerns from a technical perspective and getting things set up. They work with them to what's good information to present for that day, kind of walk through all of that information. They also set up all of the meetings, do all of the scheduling, as well as for the day of the event, they are kind of there in the background, that if anyone has any technical difficulties, they kind of hop in and help support, real time as well.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. And then the next question is, if we could, as I understand it, just help brainstorm. So specifically on your slides, you were looking for suppliers for food, baby, beauty, and wellness. And a few people, this has come up a couple of times in the chat. Can you be a little bit more specific about some of the products that might be eligible for people to be considered for? Like you've come up with crackers and different things, but can we just brainstorm what some of those specifics might be? Give people
Or share some success stories of somebody that brought you this and now it's on the shelves. And
Gotcha. Yeah. So I would say anything from a food perspective, it could be fresh produce, that team will be included. It could be bakery, it could be frozen, dry goods, really anything edible is included in the event. And then from a beauty and wellness perspective, it could be lotion, shower gels, soaps, vitamins, makeup, anything like that. So it's a pretty wide range. Baby, it could be baby food, baby GM would be included, or general merchandise, sorry. So it could be cups, bibs, different things like that. Um, the and something else to keep in mind here is, it could be something that's really only available for enough for one store. So don't think it has to be something that can go to all 240 plus of our stores. It can be something that literally just is available for one store. So we will have all of the buyers for our big box whole full chain, as well as we will have the individual store directors that support our market format stores. So a lot of those products, they need to support that one market format store. So I don't want anyone to be kind of scared off by the total scope of what Meijer is. In terms of a success story, this is honestly the first time that we're doing this, so we don't have a ton of success stories quite yet at this point, but I do know of one from a tortilla chip perspective. I want to say it's a local Detroit company that had come to Meijer, and they had great tortilla chips that are available over in our deli section. So Carla, I don't know if you know, but I believe they're available in all stores. I think that they've kind of been able to scale up production and everything, and are available in all of our stores now. So
Excellent.
Yeah, thank you for that. And then a few more questions here. This is wonderful. Someone did ask, if they are already in one store at Meijer, will Meijer help them scale up so that they can, or walk alongside them so they could eventually be in more stores? Is that something that will be part of the plan?
Yes,
Okay.
definitely. And I do think that even if they are in one store, potentially especially if they're in a market format store at this point, I would still suggest signing up for this event because it is different buyers for market format as compared to the rest of our chain. So if they're with market format, the buyer for rest of chain may not really necessarily know of them. So this is an opportunity to kind of get their foot in the door with the buyer that would support full chain.
Okay. And it does sound like I'm picking
I'm
I'm
just going to
picking up. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Carla. I'm sorry.
want to add to Nikki's comment. That's true also for our gas stations, the Meijer Express stations. There's a different buyer there as well. So if you're in our gas station or you'd like to get in our gas station and you're somewhere else, you need to register because you're specifically looking to get in there. So.
Okay.
Yes, good point. Thank you.
All right. And back to the product question, this just recently popped up in the chat. So hair care products, bonnets, children's books, things like that, that will be something that would be considered retail ready?
Yep. Books are not a part of the Lift Local, but all the bonnets and the hair care, absolutely. For the Lift Local event. If they are diverse, then the diversity week they want to pay attention to and then submit at that time. If they are not diverse, then they just want to go to the Vendornet address and register as a prospective vendor that way.
All right, thank you for that clarification. And then there were a couple of questions. One, I'll ask this one, then I'll come back with a second question. Just, if someone is selected and they've put their information on RangeMe, they're being considered by Meijer, is there some product expectation of their ideas not being shared? Is there, a way that they won't lose any intellectual property? What reassurances do you offer there?
I would say definitely no concerns from that perspective. Not that we necessarily have, a non-disclosure written with everyone, but, it will definitely, everything will be kept within just the team that they're at Meijer that you're meeting with. We would never share any of that information out with any other suppliers or anything. So no concerns from that perspective.
Okay, thank you for that. And then the other question, one thing that's really resonating well with me is it sounds like Meijer is willing to put some wraparound or surround services, if you partner with someone, helping them get certified, helping them grow, potentially, looking at packaging, scaling up and that type of thing. Is there another way that you can help these individuals connect with buyers, just in terms of, how they market their product, if, for instance, if they're not selected, what they can do, so maybe they'll be selected in the future. Is there any, steps along the way that you would be able to provide?
I would say if that is the case for someone on this call, if you are not selected for the April Lift Local event and you registered, please feel free to reach out to diversevend@meijer.com and ask that question, and we will do the work to get that buyer to respond with some feedback on why they're not interested in that product. And if it is not related to those categories, if it's later with the diversity week or anything else, please feel free to send it to DiverseVend and we'll help get you feedback for sure.
Okay, Carla, thank you for that. And then also a very unique question when we talk about retail ready. Is Meijer looking at maybe picking up recipes for its own production line? So as I understand it, if someone has a unique product and maybe it can be added to your portfolio of cookies that you already do, but you can buy a vendor's recipe to start selling that cookie through your thing. Is that something that would be considered as well?
Would you, that person should send their question to DiverseVend@Meijer, and I will send it over to the director that has the chefs reporting to her, and find out that answer. I don't know, but that's a good question.
And I guess this is a good opportunity to remind our audience that Nikki did put her email as well in the chat. I know we might not be able to get to all the questions, but again, this is a great opportunity to connect directly with Nikki and ask specific questions. Great.
You know, there was a question in the chat around premium membership on RangeMe. That is not necessary to have a premium membership on RangeMe to participate. When you have a premium membership, I think there is a fee that you're paying to be a premium member. I don't know what you get for that, but in order to participate in the event, you can just click in, register all of your product, and then make sure that you save it and close it and that your registration is complete, and then you're eligible just by nature of doing that.
Yes, and as I mentioned, it's only then if you are selected a $200 fee. I believe the premium is over $1,000, so not something required by any means.
Carla, I did receive a couple of direct messages towards me or questions, and one is their sentiment is that they're really excited. They're very appreciative of you doing this and the April 1st event and doing the webinar here today with us. Timing wise, they might not have the proper certification by then. It takes a while to get some of these certifications. You got to go through an orientation and so forth. Will this be offered again in the future, different time of the year, or will there be more?
Yeah, that's a good question. Certainly we will continue this format, assuming that we will continue to have success with it, because we did see success with the event that we did back in November. To participate, you do not have to be certified. So if you have a product or service, just jump on in, and the certification piece will just be ongoing with us. So it's just something that my team will just continue to work on, getting suppliers certified.
Thank you for that clarity. I think that was really important. What I'm hearing is, hey, you have a product and it's a value, it does well, bring it to Meijer and let's figure it out, right? So love it, love it. One more clarifying point.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
To count for minority participation, it requires to be a U.S. citizen. Does that requirement exclude like legal permanent residents or anything other than a U.S. citizen? Again, just for the counting of the dollars in diverse spend.
I believe so, but I don't know that to be true. And the reason I say I believe so is because it's the third party that has to certify you, not Meijer. So if it's woman-owned or minority-owned, you can send that question to DiverseVend as well, and we will send that to the certifying organization and get you an answer, and they'll respond back to you directly. So send it that way.
And again, this is to be able to count the dollars, but if you don't meet that certificate, you can still participate.
Absolutely.
And that's what I do.
Absolutely. There was a question in the chat around indirect, and it was specifically contract services. Are you looking at indirect resources at this time, specifically recruiting services? We did an event back in September, October for recruiting services. That is a category that is highly populated with diverse businesses. And so we had over 100 companies that we included in that event. We narrowed it down to a group of providers that we're moving forward with. So I would say you want to register on Vendornet. And if you want to send an email to DiverseVend at Meijer, I will get your email to the buyer and have the buyer have some conversation with you. He can give you some feedback. and let you know if there's any opportunity. I tend to think not, but I don't know. And so I'll let you have that conversation direct. So.
Perfect.
Thank you. Well, our time is approaching the end here, and I do want to thank Carla and Nikki for this information. It's been very helpful. To all the participants, you have the word of the chamber that every information that we get will funnel back to you through the email that you use to register. I do want to close with a couple of things before Dante sends us home. One, a lot of people were asking about those dates, and so Nikki did just put that in the chat. Those dates to be mindful of, but I'll state them again. You must be registered through RangeMe by February 19th. That's next week. So you have about a week to get that done. And again, to reiterate, there is no fee for that, but if you are selected, there might be a $200 fee for that. The actual event takes place on April 1st, but there's a few other dates in there you need to be mindful of. The contact information is there, so please ask your questions to make sure you're registered by the 19th. On behalf of the Grand Rapids Chamber, I want to thank Meijer, specifically Carla and Nikki, for your expertise and time today. Dante, can you please take us into our final remarks?
Absolutely. Thank you, Ken. Y para todos nuestros amigos de habla hispana, les informamos que también vamos a compartir esta información en un resumen por medios de comunicación como El Informador. Entonces, manténganse al tanto de esto pronto. Nikki and Carla, thank you for your time and expertise today. Hey, Ken, thank you for keeping our discussion focused. Before we conclude, I'd like to open the conversation to an appreciation of, or share the appreciation that I've seen on the chat. Carla, Nikki, very specific to you, and being open to not only share the information, share your contact information, and being willing to be a champion for our local vendors and hopefully future Meijer vendors as well. Thank you for engaging in today's webinar. We hope to see some of your products on shelves at Meijer soon. A recording of today's webinar will be posted to the Grand Rapids Chamber YouTube channel and shared on social media tomorrow morning. If you know someone who would benefit, we encourage you to share. Be well and have a wonderful weekend. Thank you.